What's up, YouTube? Heretic here, back to talk about some things after spring regionals have indeed concluded. Here with one of my loyal fans. Badge up of the day, number one. I'm saying number one because I don't know how many there's going to be. Anyway, some big news this weekend. Regional championships took place. It was the first weekend in which the new Roaring Skies expansion was legal for tournament play, and we had some major events. So we saw, a new set. We got Rayquazas in the format now. You got Mega Latios, got Mega Gallade. You got a whole bunch of other new stuff. And top tables, we saw Toad, and more Toad. You can probably guess. You probably guess how I feel about that. Yeah. So basically, these Toad decks, like the Toad Shaman one that I profiled for you guys most recently, spam item cards, Acrobike, Trainer's Mail, Super Scoop Up, Hypnotoxic Laser, Crushing Hammer. You run Enhanced Hammer, Versus Seeker, and you just trump card, and they all go back in. Rip through the deck in one turn with all those items plus Shaman EX, and except in the mirror match when you can't play the items. And then, yeah. Wash, rinse, and repeat thanks to Lysandre's trump card. Well, last night, before I went to sleep, I saw news that Lysandre's trump card in Japan had been banned from the battle festivals. So, of course, Burbank was stirring about this, reminiscent of the Tropical Beach ban they had over in Japan, although for a different reason. Because Tropical Beach had been banned over in Japan due to the fact that it was virtually inaccessible for a lot of players. Whereas Lysandre's trump card was banned because they're over in Japan, since they play Black and White On, which was what we consider expanded format. They have a Latios Donk deck that was running a whole bunch of plus powers, recycles, and all that, and then they're just, Shaman and all that stuff just makes it stupid, and then they go ahead and trump card and redraw it all and deal the 180 on turn one. However, we saw a plow through your deck in one turn cycle happen here in the States, or stateside, yeah. All the way up through and succeeding in winning the regional final in Madison, which was on stream through twitch.tv/Pokemon. As Jason Klasinski took his Seismitoad Shaman deck with the trump card engine all the way to first place, overcoming a Virizion Genesect in the finals in sudden death. So, and a lot of good coin flips going his way, but definitely his fair share of tails flips as well, particularly on Crushing Hammer, I noticed. But that aside, wake up this morning, or this afternoon, I guess, it was probably around noon, and we come to find out that not only has Lysandre's trump card now been banned in Japan, but it is also, as of June 15th, 5 days before the date that the Japanese ban takes effect, it has been banned here in the United States as well. And this means Worlds, Nationals, all these, no more trump card. Anyway, no more trump card due to the ban. So what kind of, and then this all of a sudden says, what kind of meta are we looking at now? Because clearly it isn't going to be identical to the one that we just saw at Madison and Georgia Regionals this past weekend. So, the first thing that I think that jumped to my mind is these decks that plow through the whole deck in one turn. Goodbye. Get out of here. You're welcome to plow through in one turn if you're going to go ahead and just, deck out, I guess. I mean, there are still cards that can shuffle cards from your discard back into the deck. I guess Sacred Ash is the primary one now. I know Japan does have a version of Sacred Ash called Energy Recycle or something of the sort that instead of shuffling Pokemon, shuffles basic energy back in. Expanded format has Super Rod. So there are definitely still options, just far less powerful and in item form. I'm sure there are some Pokemon that have attacks that can do something similar to, but basically pointing that you can't just take the whole thing and just plop it back over into the deck space and start drawing it again with items and abilities. Of course, this was followed up by pretty much an immediate price drop on eBay and online in general of the new Shaman EX. I still believe Shaman is going to be a very commonly played card. I think it's a fantastic card. I just think now it'll see maybe about the level of play that Uxie saw back in the Diamond, Pearl, Platinum days when that was a thing. And it won't be one of those things where it's just like every deck's like 4 of, or else you're running like Wobbuffet and Silent Lab and all this stuff to counter it. I think it's kind of going to balance out now, and it won't be quite so bad. That said, obviously I do believe the Toad Shaman Turbo deck is definitely dead. That's not to say Seismitoad is dead. I still believe Seismitoad is very much alive. I think it'll revert to the Seismitoad Slurpuff version. People could potentially try to play that one still. The other thing, just running Seismitoad in a deck like Yveltal, which all of a sudden looks like it could be brought back. Another big deck that can benefit from the absence of Lysandre's trump card is Night March. This, especially with Toad Shaman, Turbo, whatever being gone, I think Night March, Flareon, and even Executor in this case, due to the fact that people will probably have to run more draw supporters again. All 3 of these decks can make a resurgence. The first 2 I'm perfectly content with. Executor is one of those locked decks that can go burn in hell for all I care. Of course, there are going to be others. There's still the Wally Trevenant deck, very real deck. I don't see that one going anywhere. To me, that one's more about overpowering it, which is what Toad was about before. You got to be able to overpower it before they take away all your energy. But you're not using 17 crushing hammers on me in one game anymore. Thank you very much. I played in the days of Haymaker. I know what energy removal does, and I don't like it. So this definitely makes the metagame back to the it helps diversify it more the way it was before. I think the more traditional builds of Mega Rayquaza will have a chance now. Running the 1/1 Altaria line, running the Executes, the Virizion EX, Of course, I have the build that, for the current format, with trump card that Squeaky used from Team Fish Knuckles, used down in Georgia, and I think a couple of his teammates played it too. I had given him that list because he was looking for a deck to play, and he ended up making day 2 with it, so we collaborated on a video together to kind of discuss the tournament, and he basically discussed that, and we talked about the deck. I'll also be profiling that. You can go over to Team Fish Knuckles' YouTube channel to find a match that he and I played, as it was a Rayquaza deck basically built to counter Toad. And so I played a Shaman Seismitoad deck against him, and he played the Rayquaza deck, and he was able to show exactly how it's able to beat Seismitoad, and it was a very good demonstration, I feel like. So hopefully that'll be uploaded very soon, if not already, and you guys should be able to watch that too. I recommend subscribing to Team Fish Knuckles as well if you haven't already. It's a fantastic channel. Squeaky's a great guy. All those guys are pretty cool. Guys and gals. I've had the opportunity to meet most of them. They're really cool. But anyway, back on topic. Really just the big thing with trump card getting banned, and where I think the format's going to go. Obviously it's going to be very interesting. Can't say for certain, but Night March, Flareon, and Executor all just had a huge door open up to them. Of course, other decks, run trump card, but might be able to work without him. I think Virizion Genesect is going to be able to have a strong showing here through the end of this season. Of course, we all know Andrew Estrada won the Masters Division of Worlds last year with Virizion Genesect. I still think the deck will remain. It's powerful, and without trump card in those Toad decks, I think they lose really any kind of an advantage that they did have in that particular situation. We may see Seismitoad decks running stuff like Crawdaunt, Team Flare Grunt, Zero Sick in bigger numbers now. The Crawdaunt variant, which if you play that, there's a cold place in hell somewhere. I'm just messing with you. I just hate energy removal lock decks, control decks. Like I'm an aggressive player and I like to OHKO things. So yeah. Anyway, try not to get sidetracked too many times here. I think this does open up a lot more, the 3 decks I mentioned. I think Eviltall does make a comeback, or at least has an opportunity to here. I think Krobofet, Fighting Bats, or Lando Bats can definitely become a play again. As I said, VG. It makes me satisfied to know that I believe I can play my Blastoise again. That is one of the decks that does run the risk of decking out. I really wish we had that Energy Recycle card, but I suppose I can try to make do with something like Sacred Ash, or I don't know. I'll figure something out with that deck. That thing's just too much fun to play, and if it's viable, I'm going to want to use it. Mega Rayquaza is a thing, and I think Dragon Mega Rayquaza now has a bit more of an open door for that deck as well. And we saw Dustin Zimmerman play that on stream at the Madison Regional. Not to a victory, but again, given the matchup that he was dealing with, it's understandable. I mean, he's a great player, and I really do think that deck with Reshiram and the Dragon Mega Rayquaza has a ton of potential, and especially with Trump card being out of the format, a lot of these decks would run the 1 Trump card, but can definitely survive without it. Primal Groudon is a huge player in the format, with Maxi and all that. Much like Blastoise can be with Archie. I mean, a lot of people, I think they're still kind of on the fence with that. I've tested that with a few people. I've gotten a consistency rate pretty darn good with that thing. May have to make a few tweaks to it, but that's okay. I'm alright with that. I really feel like you can have 10 plus competitive decks in the meta, and that Toad Shaman that was kind of romping everything is really held in check now. Like, you can definitely still run Shaman in a Seismitoad deck, and I think people will. But the deck that is pure 4 Toad, 4 Shaman, and then maybe you run like a Munna and a Keldeo, or maybe you run Dragalge like Jason did, or whatever, like, that's where it's neat, and with all the item draw and the trump, like, that's where it needs to go away. Like, oh, I can just discard all this stuff and throw it all away as aggressively as I want, because it's all going to come back next turn. No. Stop. As much as I like Trump card as an individual card, I do think this was the right decision, because it was either that or they were going to have to issue an errata. I mean, an errata such as maybe Trump card shuffles in all cards except for items, or maybe they could take it one step further and say Pokemon and Energy, or Pokemon and Basic Energy, like an Ultra Rod, I guess. Bad joke of the day, number 2. Yeah, I mean, I guess I feel like it's going to definitely diversify the meta again, because we did see it kind of close down a bit, I think, this weekend. Not entirely, but in a lot of ways. Of course, we still saw a lot of really cool decks. I mean, I think Primal Groudon is a huge player in the format. Dylan Bryan playing the Dragonite list. I played against someone actually on the TCG Online game who ran that deck against me just a few days ago. For all I know, it might have been him. I don't know if he plays online or not. But I did see one of those decks. I did actually beat it with my Rayquaza deck. It was a very close match, and I think my opponent struggled a little bit with his draws. Outstanding deck, very creative though. I may try to build my own version and profile that here soon. Maybe, maybe not. Got a lot of stuff that I need to, that are on my list of on my to-do list for this channel right now. Regionals and Trump card really shook things up, so yeah. I'm curious to see what other new decks come into format. Obviously, we've got some Bandit Ring stuff that I'll be looking at going over here pretty soon. That Mega Skeptile looks pretty juicy. Don't talk to me about Vileplume. I'm not happy about it. But yeah, I mean, I look forward to where the game takes us, as always. I think Roaring Skies is a fantastic set. There's maybe one or two things I would have liked to have seen done differently, but for the most part, I'm content with where it's at. With Lysandre's trump card going out of the game, I guess the one big thing that I liked that we do lose is something that can just reside in my binder now, and that is, without a doubt, the most badass looking full art supporter card that the game had to offer, or has to offer. And on June 15th, here in the US, we will lose that card. So it'll just sit in my collection, I guess. Funny how they announced the US ban. Actually, it was probably only like maybe 12 hours later than the Japanese one, if that. Japan's ban will take effect on the 20th of June, which is also the same day that Bandit Ring is released over there. So they'll get their new set and they'll get the ban of trump card simultaneously. Whereas we will have for Nationals and Worlds in the United States, and I believe Canadian Nationals as well, we will have the banned trump card in the Boundaries to Roaring Skies format. So it's definitely exciting. I think we're going to see a lot of different decks. I think people are going to try a lot of different things, and for what it's worth, as far as gauging the meta and the way it started out this past weekend and using this last weekend of regionals as a kind of a starting ground for nationals, throw it out the window. I'm telling you right now, throw it out. Anyone who played Yu-Gi-Oh! When that SJC, when you got to play 3 Stratos, yeah, we learned the same thing there. Of course, we knew going in that was only for one event, but you know, this isn't Yu-Gi-Oh! Throw it out. It's gone. Lysandre's trump card, you may now take your place alongside Sneasel and Slowking from Neo Genesis, and you may enjoy it there. And I don't think there was another card that's been banned until trump card since Slowking. I mean, you know, not including a rotation. Like, we had an emergency rotation due to Sable Donk. I know back in 2011, I believe it was 2011. May have actually, I don't know, whatever. And now we're looking at, you know, just a new banned card, people going crazy. Deal with it, guys. It's going to be better for the game in the long run. I realize some of you spent way too much money on your Shamans now. I might have traded a bit much myself. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at what I traded for them again. But, you know, it is what it is, and I think it's going to be good for the game. So, another cool looking card to go into my collection that I'll never use again. Otherwise, that's that, and I'll see you guys very soon. I've got a lot of material, as I stated before, that I'm working on. I got a lot on my to-do list for World Renowned Heretic right now, so we may be seeing some videos uploaded a bit more frequently than we have over the last couple of weeks. Axel says hi. Little guy is a little over 2 weeks old now. He's doing fantastic, if anyone wants to know. If not, then you probably already clicked out of this video. And I hope to see all you guys at Nationals, US Nationals that is. Everyone's going to be there. I will be doing a special event there. More details on that coming soon. As far as things are rolling right now, it looks like I'm going to be at Worlds too. I've got my invite, I've got the trip planned, I got the hotel booked and everything, so especially for the international fans or for anyone who's known you guys there, I cannot wait. And we'll be able to set things up more exclusively for anyone who would like to play a match with me or anything like that at either of those events. I'll get more info on that for you guys all very soon. For now, if you want more direct info, you can go on Facebook and look up World Renowned Heretic and like my page. You can get more updates through there, and also follow me on Twitter at WRHeretic. I don't know how often I'm going to be posting on Twitter. I mainly use it to follow musicians, but I may start going ahead and using that more. Definitely the Facebook page though, and of course my channel. So that's all I got for you guys right now, and I hope to see you guys soon. Cheers.